Hello, welcome back. I'm Tally, and today we're going to go through the non-book media I consumed in February. February was a weird one for me. I feel like I didn't read much. And then when I looked, I was like, oh, you kind of did, but kind of didn't. And I was like, oh, I probably watched a lot of films, which is why I didn't read as much. But no, I didn't, so I don't know. So in February, I watched 2 films. On the 18th, I watched Blink Twice, which is a horror thriller featuring Channing Tatum in a kind of role I've never seen him before. I gave this 4 stars. I loved it. It's, I would say, slightly long, but I don't think there was a negative, but I did feel the length whilst I was watching it. So we follow Frida, who is a kind of in between jobs, and she picks up a role as a cocktail waitress for a gala, and the gala or fundraiser is run has been thrown by a tech billionaire, like genius guy called Slater, who has just carried out a comeback after being cancelled for some I think it's like sexual abuse allegations or sexual abuse, not allegations, like when it's been proven. I can't remember, but he's like on a comeback, and as all wealthy white men, it doesn't actually affect his career at all, and he just steps back into his role and carries on. And he bumps into Frida at this gala and takes a liking to her, and she is obviously extremely flattered, and it's Channing Tatum, so he's quite, he's charismatic, he's handsome, and he invites her to his kind of wellness retreat, not really wellness. He invites her to party at a secluded like island with a bunch of his friends. She agrees to go, and when I was watching it, I was like, anything that's not romance. Like, if this is romance, that's cute, that's adorable. Any genre outside of romance, I'm like, run. What are you doing? You're going to a secluded island with a man you don't know, a wealthy man who can cover up anything and has gotten away with whatever it was that happened at the beginning of the film. Run. Obviously, like, we wouldn't have a film if she ran. So she agrees to go. She takes her best friend and her roommate with her, and they get there, and it's like everything's provided for them. They have clothing, fabulous food, wonderful wine, and they're all just getting high and like fucked up all the time. And the cinematography for this is absolutely beautiful. The director, Zoe Kravitz, stunning. I want to see more films by her, because this was so visually so well done, and like the sound and the costuming and the colors, it was just perfect. I feel like I said this kind of stuff for The Substance last month. It's those female directors, man. They capture it so well. But yeah, so Frida goes, it's beautiful, it's like a dream come true, and then it comes crashing down, and when it crashes, and ooh, there's some gore in this. It's it was cathartic. This is a revenge film. Okay, so they had to add some content warnings at the beginning of the film, because a lot of the storyline was, I believe, not hinted at in the trailers or whatever, to try and keep it a shock, but it is something that you need content warnings for, so now that's in there. So, and the ending, the ending took me aback, and I really enjoyed it. I thought Channing Tatum was fantastic in his role. He was actually really, really well cast because he can do the charismatic side, but he was able to switch really well into horror villain, and yeah, really good. And then our main character Frida, who was played by Naomi Aki. I don't think I've seen her in anything else. No, I've not seen any of the other films that she's been in, but she was fabulous. She was really, really good. I would 100% watch more with her in it because I just thought she was so I don't want to use the word charismatic because it doesn't feel like that. She was just like, it was like you were just drawn to her. When she was on the screen, you couldn't help but just look at her. She's just so, I don't know, there's something about her presence that is just really, it just takes up the screen. It was such good casting. And yeah, this film, oh, I felt sick. I felt so sick. And when it finished, I was like, man, I could watch that again. And I probably will. And then the other film I watched was Mandrake. This has been one that's like I've been curious about for a while. I always see the poster on Shudder, and I thought I'd give it a try. And even now, I'm not sure what I thought of it. I gave it 2.5 stars. I'm still in two minds as to whether it would be more like 2-star territory or 3-star territory. I just don't really know. There was like some elements I loved and then some that didn't quite hit for me. So we follow a probation officer. Where is this set? I think it's set in, is it Scotland? I can't remember. We follow a probation officer in a small town who is tasked with dealing with a kind of notorious killer. She's almost like one of those stories that you tell your kids about to keep them out of the woods kind of thing. And she is known as Bloody Mary. She's called Mary and she's known as Bloody Mary. And Kathy, our main character, is tasked with rehabilitating Mary into like the town and society as a whole. She's just come out of like a 2-decade sentence for the murder of her husband. Like the townspeople are, you know, almost pitchforks at the ready. Like they are so against Mary being released. And Kathy kind of finds herself in the middle. And then some children are killed in the woods near where Mary lives. And that sets like the ball rolling of the townspeople getting involved. And I don't know what is considered a spoiler or not, but yeah, some children die in the woods and Kathy gets pulled into it. And then it's kind of like a film of two halves. So there's that really interesting like mystery crime element, and then the second half, or like the second third, the last third, just kind of goes like crazy. It has some really good visuals, some really good gory visuals, but it was like boom boom boom. But then these big, this is gonna sound so like rambly, but suddenly loads of stuff is happening and I was just sitting there like, I don't understand how we got here from here. Like, how did A to B happen and what the fuck is going on? And that was it. Like, the film finished and I was still like, what the fuck did I just watch? Did I just watch two scripts like pushed together? I don't understand, and I don't know if I liked it or not. And that is where we are. I don't know if I liked it or not. So I don't know, maybe watch someone's review that's more coherent than me, or more aware of their thoughts of it before picking this up. But I watched this for a film challenge that I'm doing, and I picked this for a like a witchcraft film. So if that helps you kind of work out whether you'd enjoy it or not, I don't know. There we go. So yeah, they were the only 2 films I watched in February. But I tell you what I did do. I watched a little, possibly too much, question mark, Criminal Minds. I was on a Criminal Minds binge. Okay, so I watched from like mid-season 7 to, oh my god, just going through my tracked history all the way to season 13. That's what I was doing instead of watching films or reading books. Wow. Okay. I am a little bit obsessed with Spencer Reid. Okay, that's just how it is. I can't believe how many episodes I watched. That's crazy. It's like, does this tell me how many? 135 episodes? Is that right? Wow. Okay. So yeah, Criminal Minds. I think I said last time, season 6 I think was where I got up to, like when the first time I originally watched it. So most of what I watched in February were new. Most of like all of the like character story arcs were new to me, etc. I could really see there was a point, I think I'm gonna say it was around season 12, maybe season 11, where I feel like the writers just were not, the writing was not as good. It started to lean really heavily on these like multi-episode arcs, and they seem to not, and this is so much contrast to, I remember last month I was saying like they were too scared to do multi-episode arcs, but in this like group, towards the end of the show, it finishes at like season 15, towards the end it was almost like they were incapable of writing a contained episode, and they were incapable of doing episodes that did not revolve around the personal life of one of the characters, and it got real old real fast. And also because of that, they had to constantly put the characters into dangerous situations or like life-threatening situations, and will they, won't they die, and it kind of lost its like interest. When characters are in constant peril, it doesn't get your adrenaline pumping anymore, and I feel like they really started to struggle to write really interesting unsubs, and that really reflected across the show. And just a spoiler, I have actually finished this show now, so I will obviously talk about it in my March wrap up, but it definitely limped to the end, and they made some character decisions that made me so angry. So I think there's a lot of shows that I love, that are like comfort shows, that I just don't bother with like the end series, and this will be one of them. I'll probably stop around season 11, I think 10 or 11, and then I have no requirement to rewatch a lot of these later episodes, which is a shame because it seemed, I know, it was a really good season, and it seemed like I was looking at, when I was logging the episodes, I saw a lot of comments. It seemed like the fan base were really engaged, so it's always a shame when they just kind of end with a whimper. But there we go. What else was taking up my time in February? I'll tell you what it was. I was playing far too much Planet Zoo. I built so many zoos. I was loving life. I built so many. It was great. So I will have to, I know, if I can, I'll put some screenshots in of some zoo stuff. That is what I've been doing. I've been watching Criminal Minds and playing Planet Zoo, and do you know what? I've been living my best life. But unfortunately, both of those things have rolled into March, so March is not looking much better reading wise. But I tell you what, I have a good looking zoo. Okay, I think that's it. So yeah, thank you for joining me on this little kind of ramble. If you made it to the end, please drop a animal emoji for Planet Zoo. Drop your favorite animal in the comments. Drop me a like if you enjoyed this. Let me know what films you watched in February, and make sure to subscribe so you will see any future videos from me. And that's all for today. Thank you so much for spending some time with me, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye, friends.